Morning. I just Googled Esau owns the media, and I found this website, Esau Today. And I just found this article here. Is Christianity Jewish? And I'd like to read portions of it to you. Trevor Worsham. Christianity is a Jewish sect, and in order for it to be successfully introduced to Europeans and Orientals, they had to combine some parts of the native tradition. So 90% of our white Christian ancestors were in fact in some way or other participating in pagan practices. At the end of the day, my friend, Christendom has failed to stop the invasion. Most Christians and most Christian denominations have broke bread with the invaders. We have been betrayed by Jehovah. That's a bit very strange. Sloan Sutherland says Christianity was certainly not a Jewish sect. In the early Christian era, the people, today called Jews, were its most dedicated opponents. I don't disagree with anything you said concerning medieval or modern Christianity. I simply don't see that as damning evidence against the teachings of Christ and the apostles, which have long been forgotten by Judeo-Christianity. No Christian ought to be worshiping Jehovah, the chief God of the Jews' pantheon, in the first place. You see how they mix and conflate. No Jew, here, this is important. No Jew is a legitimate Hebrew, Israelite, or Judahite, which is exactly what I've been trying to explain. A Jew is a mask. It is a name protecting the guilt of Esau. Remember Dragnet, that series in the late 60s and early 70s. How they always said at the beginning, we've changed the names to protect the innocent. They changed the names of themselves and others to protect the guilty. No child of Esau is a legitimate Hebrew, Israelite, or Judahite. Notice how this is differentiated here. They are all descended from Edomites, conquered, converted, and integrated into Judea in 125 BC by John Hyrcanus. Now, I believe that this is also a lie. If you read the Bible, you will see what happened. You will read Amos, read Obadiah, read Malachi, read the whole Bible for context, for the whole counsel of God and the historical truth of the matter. Esau and Jacob have always been at swords' points. Esau was not converted to worship his father, the devil. No. He worshipped his father, the devil, by inclination and proclivity of mind, heart, and soul. This whole story about John Hyrcanus is a bunch of baloney. It also exonerates Esau, in a way, from taking responsibility for what he has done and for what he is doing and for what he will do. They exonerate themselves every year in the Kol Nidre ritual. Kolnidre. Continuing, they became thenceforth known as Judeans. You see, they just assumed the identity of Judah because Judah had been taken into captivity. Just read about it in Obadiah. It's only one chapter. This is attested in Josephus' Antiquities of the Judeans. Well, Josephus was an Edomite, so I wouldn't trust him too much. And Strabo's geography, as well as several Jewish sources, e.g., Jewish Encyclopedia, 1903, and Jewish Encyclopedia, 1925. These Idumeu Judeans rose to the heights of power in the synagogues and in politics in Judea under the Roman client king Herod the Edomite, who tried to kill Christ in his infancy. This is the truth. These Edomites were living in Judah. That does not mean that they were Judeans. That does not mean that they were of Judah. Judah was taken prior into captivity to Babylon, and many of them were sold into Greece. That is why in the New Testament you have the Greeks going to meet the Messiah in John chapter 12, for example, and you have Paul talking about the Jew first and also the Greek. This Jew needs to be eradicated. We need to start talking about Esau, because that's who it is, and then everything will become clear. Lies are created by this mask that is a covering for Esau by calling himself a Jew. Remove that name, call him by his real name, and the history becomes clear. So, where are we here? Yes, Herod was an Edomite, and he tried to kill Christ in his infancy. At the time of Christ, many of the Judeans and most of the Pharisees, Sadducees, and politicians were of the stock of Esau, Edom, and not Jacob, Israel. You have to ask yourself, too, why did Messiah come at precisely this time in history? Don't forget that these Pharisees at heart are bankers. They are money changers. They filled up their synagogues and were exchanging money. They were enslaving the people with their usury. And Messiah was able probably to dispel that for a time. But the New World Order is their objective, and there's nothing new under the sun. For an understanding of where God stands concerning Esau, Edom, see Malachi 1, chapter 2 and 3, and the book of Obadiah. Praise God, I found this. You can Google all day, but if you don't Google the exact right expression, you're not going to get what you want. And I just Googled Esau owns the media, and I found this page. These Edomites were ancestral foes of Israel. Do not forget the story of Esau and Jacob. Just read Amos. The hatred of Esau burns perpetually for his brother, Jacob, Israel. Read the book You Gentiles by Maurice Samuel, who calls himself a Jew. What if Maurice Samuel exchanged the word Jew for Esau and Gentile for Jacob? Then everything would be clear, you see. But we Gentiles, we're Gentiles and these poor Jews. Don't forget that the wars are always started by the Jewish Pharisees and bankers. Lawyers is what they are also. Warburg, Schiff, Kuhn, and Loeb. I'm not so sure about Schiff. I'm wondering if Schiff might not even be of the tribe of Dan. Also because of his name, Schiff, which means ship. And we know that the tribe of Dan dwelt in ships, according to Deborah's song in Judges 5. So let me see, where am I here? The hard thing is I cannot read what I'm... Here, I'll just try to read it from the camera now. And then the camera will be more steady. The offspring of Cain and the mysterious woman of Nod. Where were we? These Edomites were ancestral foes of Israel who had mingled with the cursed Canaanites. This is in the Bible. He's not making it up, or she. Who in turn had mingled with the Kenites, the offspring of Cain, and the mysterious woman of Nod. I do not know if that's true, because there was the flood after Cain. I do not know if Cain's offspring lived through the flood. Maybe there was a daughter of Cain's offspring who married one of the sons of Noah, but then again, she would have had to have lived through the flood. So I don't know. These Edomeo-Judeans were no more Judahites or Israelites than an Ashkenazi Jew is a German or Slav, or a Sephardic Jew is an Italian or a Spaniard. These are the false Judeans which John warned the assemblies about. John the Baptist called them a race of vipers. Christ called them children of the devil and a race of vipers. In Romans chapter 9, St. Paul discusses these circumstances concerning the Edomites at some length. Many other chapters also bear witness to this. Jews began to call themselves Hebrews and Israelites in 1860. This is from the Encyclopedia Judaica. You get it straight from the horse's mouth. Strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew, or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. Thank you. This is what I've been trying to say for years now. And still you get ostensibly Christian people saying, Jesus said they were Jews, but they were not. No, differentiate. Excise this word Jew from your vocabulary. I know it's hard to do because of the ubiquity of the thing. Strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite or Jew a Jew, or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. From the Jewish Almanac. You see, they tell you the truth, and then they continue lying. And it's very hard to find the truth, but you've got it here listed for you. The modern Jew is the product of the Talmud. Michael Robinson, in preface of Babylonian Talmud. Edom is in modern Jewry, the Jewish encyclopedia. You'll also get from the Jews that Tamar, the daughter-in-law, wife of Judah, was an Edomite. Phariseeism shaped the character of Judaism and the life and thought of the Jew for all the future. This Phariseeism, this Judaism is based on Kabbalah, Kan, Baal, Allah. The Kabbalah I have read is the received word of the serpent to his people. Now, I'm not saying that I believe that they were actually literally spawned by the devil. One day we'll know. No one can deny that the Jews are a most unique and unusual people. That uniqueness exists because of their Edomite heritage. You cannot be English Jews. We are a race, and only as a race can we perpetuate. Our mentality is of Edomitish character and differs from that of an Englishman. Enough subterfuges. Let us assert openly that we are international Jews. From the Manifesto of World Jewish Federation, January 1, 1935, its spokesman, Gerald Sobran. So there you go. Ever notice that mainstream secular criticism of the Bible always targets Christianity and never Judaism and Mohammedanism? Ever notice that all the leading figures in criticism of the Bible are Jews? Why does Jewish media not even put up a fight against anything trying to discredit the historicity of the Bible? Why do Jews barely flinch at the black Hebrew Israelites, but go into a screeching fit at the mention of Christian identity? You could also ask yourself, why was the Christian identity movement snuffed out? We know how it was snuffed out. Why do Jews ignore or even support the modern secular narrative that the Israelites of the Old Testament never existed and were merely an outgrowth of the Canaanites with an overgrown origin mythos? Why do Jews lead the attack on what they claim to be their own chief religious text? Not only why do they do it, but why do we believe it? Because the Bible isn't their book, and they are not biblical Israel. They don't even call themselves Israelites. They call themselves Israelis. But so why do people continue to cling to the lie that Mystery Babylon is Rome and that Edom is Rome? I'll tell you, this idea that Edom is Rome can be found in the Talmud. Even though they say in the next breath that Edom is Jewry. You see what I'm saying? It is the forked tongue of the devil. And really, if I hadn't found this article, I wouldn't keep going on about it, because I do feel in a way that it is just, people are going to believe what they want to believe, and nothing that I can show or do is going to change anybody's mind. It's just, we do have a certain responsibility when we have this understanding to share it. Whether 0 people watch and 0 people understand or not. Because the Bible isn't their book and they are not biblical Israel. They don't care if the Bible is discredited in the eyes of the mainstream. What is the main swear word in movies? Isn't it Jesus Christ? I've told people at the barn that I'm a Christian, and then they start cussing and saying the name of Jesus Christ in vain, which I'm not even sure if that's his name, but that's not really the point. Very, very disrespectful. It's wickedness. Because it was never theirs to defend in the first place. They don't care if you don't read the Bible. Well, they do care if you don't read it. That is their main thrust, that you go to church and have the Bible wrongly divided. And you believe in the lies. They don't care if you don't believe in the Bible. They don't care if you know they're not Israel or Judah. They don't care if the Negroes, the Mestizos, the Yaps, the Abos, the Arabs, the Pakis, oh dear, the Indians or any other non-white people claim Israelite heritage. Anything, so long as the white Christian peoples don't wake up and recognize that the Bible is their story and that they are the children of Israel.